Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the 2026 Horror Games, where we'll be breaking down some of the best face-offs, the biggest upsets, and still lukewarm takes on how this year's Monster Madness tournament has played out. My name is Chris. I'm your host and representative for the Slasher District in this year's games. And with us we have the Monster Madness Game Maker, the one who has kept us all guessing and gasping throughout the month of March, Chell. Now, this round was the one that we had all been waiting for, folks. It's really the championship. This year, the tournament brought us to victors from very different worlds, forced to face one of horror's greatest villains along the way to victory. And one rose to the challenge and one fell away. But Chell, before we talk about the final round, let's reflect on some of the greatest hits, the hacks, and the horrors that we saw during this year's tournament.
Yes, this year's Horror Games will go down in history for its drama, its high-stakes moments that will certainly keep us buzzing until next year's bracket is certainly revealed.
Now, I think there's some big favorites that we had. There was a lot that was happening, but when you think of a span of 64 contendants, we had some really great highlights and some storylines that were in the threads, starting with the Babadook. What happened with the Babadook, Joe?
So the Babadook had a fascinating run again after last year not doing so hot. There was a lot of hope around them. I even said in the opening during the reaping that I expected big things from the Babadook. Unfortunately, though, the Babadook fell on some hard times as there were accusations that maybe they were not there for the right reasons and that they were actually an industry plant. And despite a strong showing in its final round, they did not end up making the cut to move on.
Which is honestly such a tragedy because the Babadook was such a queer icon. We absolutely loved the Babadook, but he also went up against a formidable opponent in one Jennifer Check. Now, we also had a tale of two legends and people who haunted in a more ethereal way. We think about the comparison, even from Freddy Krueger and Candyman. There was a lot to unpack in that matchup too.
That was probably one of the ones that everyone was so anxiously awaiting. They did the math and they kind of made the guesses that early on we were going to have this matchup, and it was incredible to see the fight back and forth. It was blow after blow, and Candyman, while he did emerge, his victory was not for long as Jennifer unfortunately replaced him as the fan favorite, but we were so proud to see how strong the Candyman came out this year, and we are so excited to see what's next for him.
It is truly wild to me that Candyman fought that hard to overthrow Freddy Krueger only to be bested in a fan favorite vote. Crazy work to me. Now, maybe y'all didn't know what you were voting for, so none the wiser here. I get it. But I cannot wait to see what Candyman brings back to the equation in future round, which then leads us to this whole point, Chell. In a moment where we thought we knew the rules of the game, when we thought we knew who would be up against who, you went and introduced a layer of chaos that really sowed a lot of discord and discontent.
Yes, well, the Horror Games, when we get down to it, is reminding the monsters who is at the top of the food chain, and the best way to do that is to show them that no one is safe. And yes, of course, we did use the fan favorites. We had votes cast for all of the folks that entered the arena for us, and we are here for them, for you, Capital and District members. So when you cried out to us saying that you yearned for these people to be back in the arena, we simply obliged.
You yearned, and nobody yearned quite hard enough for Godzilla. I'm so sorry, Perfect Organism, but don't worry. We have a Godzilla episode on the way. Obviously, that forced us to say goodbye, but we also have to look through another returning figure in this year's Horror Games. Tell what happened in our final round when we finally got down to Jennifer Check and The Thing.
For this final round, we called upon last year's Monster Madness winner, Michael Myers, to leave the victor's villa to provide us with a smash, or should we say slash, of a finale for this year's Horror Games. Instead of facing off against each other, our two remaining tributes, Jennifer Check and The Thing, were challenged to square up against the Shape himself.
Which is such a big deal. And Chell, I think we should take a moment to just dissect this, because despite all three of these tributes being in last year's games, all of them, this is the first time any of them have found themselves in the arena together at the same time in the same round.
Again, the game gods, the game makers, we can't plan these things. The very fact that the two that entered the arena against Michael Myers, neither having prior knowledge of each other or Michael Myers, it showed the pure fierceness and the pure fight and the pure, dare I say, magic of the madness.
And I think it's important to dissect for a moment, because again, we're talking about this showdown, Jennifer Check and the Thing. We're recording this live in front of a captive audience with our citizens of the districts. But it's important to dissect why Jennifer could have won. Now, I gave you my philosophy. I still think Jennifer Check bests the Thing, even though they're really going against Michael Myers. I still stand by my logic with the fire. But what did our folks have to say, Chell?
Well, yes. So with us here tonight is someone who's been very, very vocal about her advocacy for Jennifer Check. Spooky Bitch has been really just the strongest supporter in Jennifer's world. And she was even quoted, she's been quoted many times, but in this last round, she was quoted as saying, quote, "Even Jennifer at her weakest can take Michael down. She's a succubus who can fly, has razor-sharp teeth, and inhuman strength and speed. Michael Myers is a crazy guy with a knife."
You know, I find it really hard to absorb this round because, again, I love Michael Myers so much, and it's very difficult for me to even acknowledge any of this, but I think I stand with Spooky Bitch. I love Spooky Bitch as a person. I don't want anybody beating Michael Myers, but this would be the one. Now, on the other hand, our regular games commentator and sci-fi supporter, Meat, had this to say. "Maybe I'm missing something here, but isn't Jenny from the block overpowered and killed by, checks notes, a fellow teenage girl? I don't think she's taken down Mike in a locked room brawl of any kind." Which, honestly, fair. I get it.
Perhaps the question is, could that other teenage girl, could Needy also take on Michael Myers? I mean, Hell is a teenage girl, and when you have someone who has seen the pits of hell, who perhaps Hell does not fear, I suppose the opportunity is there for Jennifer to take him down. He is not unfamiliar with losing or falling to the hands of teenage girls.
Yeah, he's not unfamiliar. Again, teenage girls wouldn't kill him. But okay, that's neither here nor there. I'm not on my defend Michael Myers nonsense. I'm just saying she had a better shot than the Thing. The Thing would not have endured the entirety of Halloween Kills. But I think it's also then to consider why the Thing could have won.
Yes, which, again, a lot of the sci-fi enthusiasts from District 3 really truly showed up, and it was incredible to see the run in District 3. And so sci-fi and horror games fan Matt was clear and simple in their support for their complex tribute in The Thing, basically saying The Thing, being a basically perfect hunter, is more than a match for the Shape of Haddonfield. And Chris, this is what I have felt all along. If something like The Thing can simply take the form of Michael Myers, then how could if the only thing that can stop Michael Myers is Michael Myers, then there isn't any fight.
Again, fire would stop The Thing impersonating Michael Myers. It's definitely giving Among Us. But Chell, I'm sorry, I think I'm clocking this. Are you a The Thing truther? Are you a thingy?
I am a thingy. I am a Carpenter Christian, if you will. I had faith in The Thing and his ability to adapt and overcome.
This is an infight. You can be a Carpenter Christian and go for the better Carpenter property. I mean, what?
The game's set before you who you need to believe in, and I chose the route of The Thing.
Okay, well, Nerdy Niblet had a interesting layer to add to this whole dimension. Nerdy Niblet, let's also just acknowledge, as ever, the capital philosopher. Left us with this pressing question. If The Thing should take on Michael Myers, does he, in turn, kill him in the becoming, but therefore become Michael Myers. And so, in effect, can't kill Michael Myers without dying himself. The snake forever eating its own tail. Nerdy Niblet, bless you. I love the way this sentence is crafted, even if it is nearly impossible to understand. Oh, it's so perfect.
Absolutely. It was a thrill to think, and one must consider what makes the shape of Michael Myers. Is it his corporeal makeup, or is it the soul or lack thereof underneath it?
I think there's a reason why Ed Sheeran had that great song, I'm in love with the shape of you. But in the end, when the smoke cleared and the final drops of blood shed, we have a winner. A drum roll, please, if you will. Jennifer Check has emerged victorious as the winner of the 2026 Horror Games.
He will be joining Michael Myers in the Victor's Villa, and while she will not be invited to join the bracket for next year's games, we are very sure that this is not the last time we'll be seeing this sexy teenage succubus enter our arena. Congratulations, Jennifer Check, and the many, many people who supported her. This is your victory as well.
It is a win for women everywhere in a year that has been so bleak. And I would like to counter and just share that as we record this, it is Wednesday, April 1st, and this is not an April Fool's joke because we don't joke about women here, okay? Let's just be real about that. I know Seneca Crane is a Carpenter Christian, which I'm saying for the second time, but heard for the first time tonight. Jennifer Check is your 2026 Horror Games champion. Now, that is not the only award to be won tonight. We actually have some incredible superlatives, so to speak, that Shell will take us through now.
Yes, so of course Jennifer Check emerged as the winner, but there were so many monsters and tributes that we wanted to recognize in this year's games. The first one being the Rookie of the Year. Now, this award goes to the newcomer to the games with the highest number of votes received. And the winner of the 2026 Horror Games Rookie of the Year are the Mutants from Pandorum in District 3. After garnering 54 total votes during their 3-round run.
Which, good for them, because I didn't even know they existed before Mac plucked them from District 3 at the Reaping. I don't know who these people are. Good for her. Good for her. Now, we have another category, which was the biggest upset, the most shocking win. And this is a moment that we have to all really take to heart, because with 64 competitors, you're bound to have some obvious wins. You're bound to have some disappointments. You're bound to have some, why were you gone so early? But this perhaps notorious and controversial win was one that shocked our classic horror connoisseur and our mentor from District 1. And that was Count Dracula, after crushing several rounds of play, finally falling to the wooden stake of the floorboards of the Amityville house.
Yes, and there was much laughter. The Amityville arriving in the arena was met with skepticism, and the house decided right quick that they were going to shut down all of that. They decided to aim their sights at one of the most gargantuan titans in the game and emerged victorious, much to the shock and chagrin of so many of us.
It really was alarming. And it really is a great juxtaposition and a great comparison to just a few rounds earlier. The hardest hit, the biggest point differential in a matchup, period. Count Dracula also had a part to play here. But was it the Amityville house?
It was not. So, as we said, Count Dracula, established himself very early as one of the ones to watch, and he made no bones about it when he shut out Dr. Morris during the first round of play in District 1 with a 43-0 shutout. Wasn't even close, it was almost immediate that Dr. Morris was out of his depth, and Count Dracula was able to easily glide even into the next round.
Truly not even a competition. You know what this is, Cho? I was thinking about this when this round took place. The famed film, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Remember the pod racing scene? Remember when they all go and then there's one pod behind who just like absolutely is not moving? That was Dr. Morris. Didn't even have the pod racer turned on. And that is just the absolute nightmare. Of course, Anakin Skywalker also started a little bit behind there, but how embarrassing. I hope Dr. Morris performs differently in the future. But for all the shutouts that we had, we also had some incredibly tense matchups. What did we see there?
Yes. Some tense matchups. We have talked about the Candyman and Freddy Krueger matchup. And while that one was very tense, the fact that Candyman almost immediately exited from the games took away a little bit of the tension that we had felt. So this year's award for tensest matchup does in fact go to Art the Clown and Jason Voorhees, who were forced to face off regarding who had the most creative kills.
I absolutely still stand by Art the Clown, supremacy. We love to see him. Now, as much as we love to see Art the Clown, we also love to see a different contender. Let's take a moment to really absorb someone who didn't quite make it, but was beloved along the way. And Chell has so eloquently named this award Miss Congeniality. Chell, who is our first Miss Congeniality?
Yes. Our first Miss Congeniality is the one we have been lauding all night. It was hard to deny that Candyman would win Miss Congeniality this year. Again, right out the gate, people were rooting for him. They wanted to see him survive. They wanted to see him succeed. And when he so bravely faced up against Freddy Krueger and defeated him, we all cheered. And yes, of course, it was a very short-lived victory, but all the more, we always went back to him. He will be forever one of the defining figures and members of this year's tournament, and he very well deserves the Miss Congeniality Award.
Most certainly, and I really hope that he carries this with pride and right back here to the next horror games. We had some great competition this entire year. This is also a moment for us to reflect on those we've lost along the way. Obviously, throughout the horror games, we have honored the many brave tributes that entered our arena this year. So before we sign off and set our sights on next year's games, let us remember once again all of those who tasted defeat before they could even reach for victory.
In District 1, the classic horror district,
Count Dracula,
Dr. Morris,
Imhotep,
Count Orlok,
the Invisible Man,
Hjalmar Holzig,
the Wolfman,
the Bride,
Gillman,
Norman Bates,
the Phantom of the Opera,
Mark Lewis,
Dr. Caligari,
Reagan McNeil,
Mr. Hyde,
Frankenstein's Monster,
and of course our fan favorite, the Amityville House, which actually is such a perfect segue to District 2, the Paranormal District.
Freddy Krueger,
Pazuzu,
Samara Morgan,
Candyman,
Valak,
the Babadook,
Dark Alessa,
Toby,
the Ghoul,
Kayako Saiki,
La Llorona,
Pinhead,
Pennywise the Clown,
Mary Shaw,
the Lipstick Face Demon.
the Entity.
Now in a galaxy far, far away in the Sci-Fi District, in District 3,
The Alien Queen,
the Tall Man,
the Female,
Syl,
the Alien from Signs,
the Ghouls,
the Sweetly Slasher,
Sweet 16 Killer,
the Mutants,
Job Smith,
The Amalgamation.
The Creatures.
The Long One.
Mr. Gray.
The Alien Queen, but from the faculty.
And our fan favorite, The Predator.
And of course, our 2026 Horror Games runner-up, aka first loser, The Thing. But turning our focus towards District 4, my home district of the slashers.
Art the Clown.
The Strangers.
The Hard Eyes Killer.
Harry Warden.
Billy from Black Christmas.
Patrick Bateman.
Ghostface.
The Fisherman.
The Camp Nightwing Killer.
The Urban Legend Killer.
Leatherface.
Angela Baker.
Jason Voorhees.
John Carver.
Billy Chapman.
Friendo the Clown.
And our fan favorite, Chucky.
Who did absolutely nothing in his round. Okay, I'm sorry. Back at it again next year, folks. There you have it. After weeks of bloodshed, alliances, triumphs, and even tragedies, we have reached the end of the 2026 Horror Games. And while we've allowed these titans of terror to dominate our thinking this month, the real stars of these games have and always will be our patrons, our listeners, and our Discord community members who showed up and voted and made this year's games one hell of a fun ride.
After last year's Monster Madness, we promised this year to bring you more of the glitz, the glamour, the gore, and the drama for 2026, and while we did our best, it was our citizens in the capitals and the district, yes, even the revolution-minded rabble-rousers looking at you, Miggy and Drew, that really brought the sparkle and fun to this year's games. So thank you to everyone for being part of the fun.
Well, as we say goodbye to another great year of Monster Madness, rest assured we'll return with some more fun and imaginative ways to pit your favorite monsters against each other next year. But until then, this is Chris and Chell signing off.
May the scares be ever in your favor.